Hello, everyone. This is Zayami Eccles-Irwin from FilmFestivalCircuit.com and the Assistant Director of the Austin After Dark Film Festival. We are gearing up for our Summer 2023 screening, which is going to be on August 6th at the Austin Film Society Cinemas. And today we're talking with one of our participating filmmakers. George Monteiro is the writer, producer, director, DP, and editor of Sisters of Vengeance. George, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Thank you for having me.
Let's jump into it. What inspired Sisters of Vengeance?
Well, my producing partner, Patricia Delanois, who also stars in the movie, about a year and a half ago, I was working on a film called Shark Whisperer about a little girl who makes friends with a shark, which is now the short version of it's now on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
But I was having a lot of difficulty convincing the studios to get involved with a film that makes people believe that sharks are, aren't the man-eaters that Hollywood has made them out to be, especially when it comes to children. And Disney didn't want to touch it because it was too much of a liability for them. So Patricia was helping me a little bit on that, and she said, "Well, I'm going over to Cannes this year. Could you put together a little trailer for some other film that I can pitch while I'm over there?" And I said, "Cannes is like 6 weeks away. You can't possibly be serious." And she said, "Well, just come up with something, anything, something, with a few dramatic moments and some explosions." And I thought, I got off the phone with her and I said, how could anybody ask such a crazy thing? But as I got to thinking about it, I said, if I was going to do something like that, what on earth would I make a story about? And knowing Patricia, she has a heart for, the underprivileged and so forth. I thought to myself, what about a story about human trafficking and a victim of human trafficking? And to make it dramatic, having her go after the traffickers that trafficked her. Knew nothing, of course, about Sound of Freedom or what's been happening in the media lately with regard to that topic. But anyway, I wrote a short treatment and about a 6-minute sort of teaser for it, and we shot it. And she took it on her iPad to Cannes with her, and she met a few people, and they liked the idea. And one of the gentlemen we spoke to came up with a few dollars and said, "Well, why don't you flesh this out a little bit?" We were originally going to make the whole feature film, and then at the last minute we lost a part of our funding. So rather than just let it die, we said, well, let's make the movie we can make with the money we have. And we wound up with like a 25 minute film, short version of the feature, with sort of the highlights of it and the main storyline. And that was basically it. We shot about 4 or 5 days, and then about 6 months ago, we shot another 4 or 5 days, and came up with what's going to be showing at your festival.
Awesome. Okay. Well, it's interesting to hear how there's the various versions of this film that were going to be made. Kind of curious, what is it like taking that sort of feature concept or the feature script and truncating it down to a short?
Well, it was difficult because I didn't know how we were going to take the footage we had and make a coherent story out of it, because we didn't have the beginning, middle, and end. We just had the beginning. And so that's where we put our heads together and said, how can we tie this up in a shorter film and still get some of the main storyline in there? And so I wrote a few extra pages of dialogue and script and brought in a few of the characters that weren't in the original short, and kind of tied the story together in a short version. And we shot those and edited those and have entered it in a number of festivals, and we've been pretty successful. And we really appreciate your being one of the people that are going to be screening the film. So we feel very happy about that. And now, as a result, some of the people that we were talking to about investing in the film have gotten the courage to pony up a little more money. So hopefully by next year, we'll be in your film festival as a feature.
Awesome. Well, I love that you made it work, and it's such a fun and action-packed, energetic film. There's never a dull moment. But it also seems like the process appears fun. It seems like people are having fun in their roles and in their characters. What was that on-set dynamic like?
Well, hectic, because we shot 25 pages in about 6 or 7 days. So that,
Wow.
it was like an insane amount of work. We shot like the scene with the trafficker in the in his warehouse. I mean, that's about 8 minutes long, and we shot that in one night with dialogue and multiple wireless mics and lighting and police. But we had to have, it was in a police facility, so we had to have police supervision, and we had to have a firearms coordinator. And it was just so stressful that I didn't think I would live through the day. So I did some of the best shots in the film we only got one take of. So had it been out of focus, or the sound not come out, or the reverse angle not been usable, we shot with 2 cameras, thank God. So we could get through some of those long dialogue scenes quickly. It was probably we had somebody upstairs looking out for us, because my assistant director said, he looked at the script, he said, "Are you crazy? You set yourself up for disaster. I don't even know if I want to be there." And we got through it somehow. And the fact that you enjoyed it,
Yeah.
The other challenge we got is the fact that this being on such a serious subject of human trafficking, there are some lighter moments, and people have been like, nervous about that. Is it like, how can you make something with any humor in it related to human trafficking? It wasn't, it's not funny, haha, in terms of the victims. It's more funny about what happens to the perpetrators. And I thought, without that lightness to it, people are going to go in and come out depressed. And I like making films that people enjoy and want to, and have a good time, but still have a message, and I think maybe I have accomplished both. I'll have to wait, for audiences to tell me that.
Well, and you gotta love the sort of the Bond-esque one-liners when she's blowing up a yacht or something. I feel like that makes it fun, it makes it engaging, and it doesn't have to be rooted, I don't think, in just pure, depressing, documentary style tell-all. Well, so it sounds like the production was a little bit difficult, just owing to an ambitious amount of shooting material in a small time frame. But what did you learn from this process? You're a longtime filmmaker, very experienced, but do you take on any new insights from this?
Well, I'm going to hire a few more people on the next.
Okay,
luckily,
totally.
I have some good friends in the industry, and they just showed up at the last minute. I had a script supervisor that said, "Oh, sure, I'll be there." And he was there every night. I mean, some of those shoots went till 5 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
And had he not been saying, "Oh, you missed line 27, I would have been up the creek. So filmmaking is a lot of fun when you have the time to make sure you get everything, but it can be very stressful if you don't have all your T's crossed and your I's dotted. And me, coming from the documentary and the commercial world, and the news world, I would just grab a camera and go, and it was me and a sound man. And when it comes to coordinating a lot of different people, that's not my comfort zone. But now I'm realizing there's just certain things you have to have covered.
Totally. Okay, well that's good advice. Not only to have that kind of pre-production, make sure that everything is in line before you start to shoot, but trusting and owing the sort of the nature of collaboration when it comes to this stuff. Like you said, something like script supervisor, young filmmakers who are aspiring to make shorts might not ever consider that and think, well, what's the necessity of that? But like you said, it's just so important to have that backup team helping in every step of the way.
Right.
Well, so tell me, George, what is next for you? Are we going to see more Sisters of Vengeance stuff? I feel like
next for me is hopefully to get this feature done.
Okay.
And we're even considering the idea of doing it as a series.
Okay.
Kind of like a blacklist. Each week she takes on a different trafficker, and sometimes this can be sex trafficking. It can be labor trafficking, which has become very prevalent. Organ trafficking. These things, you just don't hear about, but are very real and very you know, worldwide, and
Totally.
so it's a topic that's ripe for not exploiting, not in that sense of the word, but investigating and bringing to light. Because I think when people become aware of a problem, that's when, they start noticing it in everyday life. And when a
Absolutely.
politician or a news report comes on, they say, "Oh, I know about that." There's 20 million there's 20 million people in some form of trafficking today as we speak, the most that ever in history,
Mm,
in some form of bondage or slavery. So as that information gets put out there, people start acting with their pocketbooks. They start acting with their votes. They start,
right.
you know, taking steps to bring it to an end. It's the oldest industry in the world, but it doesn't have to be with us forever.
Right. Totally. Well, I think it's a noble goal to make something that's fun and engaging, but it's also investigating a topic that's totally been neglected by media, and like you said, it's more prevalent than ever. Is there anything else you'd like to add about Sisters of Vengeance?
Uh, well, um, I would say I don't know who your main audience is, but for filmmakers, um, I've learned a lot from some of the podcasts, and one of the ones that I like is filmmaking stuff.
Hmm.
And Jason Brubaker, and one of the things I always remember him saying was, "Make the film you can with the money you have today,"
Okay.
and
Yeah.
don't just put it off indefinitely and hoping to get everything in place, because everything's never in place. There's
Right.
always some pieces missing. So I don't think, had we done what we have done so far, we'd be in a position now to take the next step. So, yeah, I mean, and it's a labor of love for all of us. I mean, none of us got paid anything,
Right.
significant, and but in the process, we've connected with organizations and groups that are very involved in ending human trafficking. Quest to Freedom, Victor Williams, who was a former Homeland Security agent and was involved in the human trafficking division, has come on board as one of our sort of helpers
Cool.
and so forth. So um, the other thing is that if it's a topic, when you make a film, you got to figure you're going to be investing the next couple of years of your life into it,
Right.
no matter what it is. And if it's not a topic that totally uh, absorbs you or engrosses you, and you feel a commitment to follow through to the end, if it's just, a random horror film where you're just filming people slashing and hacking at each other, I mean, you lose interest in it after a while. But if you
Right.
think if your story has something to it that you think has lasting value, you'll want to stay committed to it. You'll want to take it to the end, and and that's where we're at. We're still in the middle of the process, but we really want to take it to the end. And you
Excellent.
you guys have given us a lot of encouragement by letting us
Totally.
be part of your film festival.
Well, it's such an exciting film, and I really appreciate the insight today, George. I think people are going to love this one. Sisters of Vengeance, August 6th at the Austin Film Society as part of the Austin After Dark Film Festival. Thank you so much for talking with me.
I'm
And I'm
very glad to
looking
do
forward
it.
to see more Sisters of Vengeance. I'm looking forward for
Thank.
that feature.
Okay.
All right.
Super.
Take care.
Will do. You too.